Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FetchQuest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. I'm your host, Guy, joined by my fellow co-host, Brewer.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, man. Before we start today's episode, dude, I don't know about you, but daylight savings is making me way too tired earlier in the day. It sucks.
Yeah, dude, I feel the same way. It's getting dark way too early. Wait, what's that old dude doing over there?
Foul tarnished. Someone must extinguish thy flame.
We didn't beat him, did we?
Oh, God, no, we didn't.
You want to do another run anyways?
Sure, why not? I'm down. And that leads us into today's episode, Elden Ring Nightreign. Let's do another run, Brewer. We may get our asses kicked again, but God, is this game so much fun. So infuriating, though, at the same time. Our asses are going to get kicked, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, some of them Everdark fights are a little crazy. Looking at you, Libra.
Yeah, one of the worst design bosses I've ever seen in a Souls game. That's saying something, because I've played through Dark Souls 2 a little bit. Like that, there's some stuff in there, but that's for later. Today, we are going to be talking about Elden Ring Nightreign, from FromSoftware's newest game in their Souls catalog, and the biggest shakeup in the Souls series ever, I would say. This is
It's the first time they've, at least in the Souls series, if we're not including like Armored Core stuff, that they've really done like a multiplayer like this, and especially like a roguelike as well.
Yeah, like, I mean, okay, this has been a topic of discussion for a while now, in the gaming scene, of how just everything is getting a roguelike. If you are a big video game, there's a roguelike of you somewhere, or that you are implementing a roguelike mode, and that is just remaining true with Elden Ring Nightreign. They decided, hey, let's go on the craze of the roguelike genre and make our own spin of it, and honestly, I think they did a pretty good job with it, for the most part.
Yeah, no, there are some areas I would like to see a little more polish in, like even with the new DLC. But like overall, like very solid. I'm liking where this is going, and hopefully we see the formula improved, especially like next year with the Duskbloods, because that's apparently going to be like multiplayer focused in some ways. We'll see.
And on the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, multiplayer has been more of like an afterthought with majority of their Souls games. Like it is there, and you can kind of like summon people for boss fights or do some PvP, but that's not the reason you're booting up Elden Ring or Dark Souls 3, you know?
Yeah, like, the thing is that, like, there is a passionate, it's a small community, but there is a passionate community for PvP in the Souls games. I'm gonna be real, I don't know how they do it. I think it is some really bad PvP, honestly. But like Brewer said, it's not what you're going to the Souls games for. You are going for the action-adventure RPG that you have to slay demigods and conquer insurmountable foes to become X Lord or figure of power here. And that's what's kind of interesting. That's what's kind of interesting about Elden Ring Nightreign, is that it takes place adjacent to the Elden Ring universe, where the night has taken over, so the Nightfarers have to go out to defeat the Night Lord to restore the daytime. Whoa. Basically, that's just their explanation for having to do like the roguelike stuff. And like, honestly, it's a little weird at first. It's a very like weird jump at first, because the Souls games, like, one of the most defining aspects of them is that they're RPGs. They are RPGs first and foremost, in terms of customization and what you're able to do with your character, and like what your character can do. And they kind of just take that away. Like, there really isn't all that much customization.
I will say though, like, that is kind of nice in its own way, because as much as I love Elden Ring, I love Dark Souls 3, you know, they don't really have the option to like refight the bosses, and at the same time, like, you can't always just like replay the games, do different builds and stuff. But I'm gonna be real, I don't always have the time for that. So it is kind of nice in some ways because like I do really love the combat of those games, of just being able to hop in like kind of like basically a preset build with some special abilities and just go crazy.
No, it is a lot of fun. There's a lot of merit to it, which kind of leads us into what exactly you're doing in these runs. So first and foremost, you have to choose a character, one of 8 characters, now one of 10 characters with the new DLC coming out, all with their own unique abilities and their own stat distributions that give them they give them more advantages than others in terms of weapon variety. However, even though, like, let's say the Revenant is going to do better with magic compared to something like the Raider, any character can use any weapon or spell, and that I think is really cool. It's a feature I don't use all too much, but I do think it is really cool that they don't really lock you in terms of like stat requirements. They just kind of they suggest that you do one way with this character to like get the optimal amount of damage possible.
Yeah, I mean, there are times, like, especially with some of the legendary weapons, where I'll just say, fuck it. Revenant, you're using the sword this time, because Moonlight Greatsword, I love it way too much.
Okay, it's really funny. You first, sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say as well, even if you do get some weapons that don't fit on your character, the thing is, especially because, like, the game is multiplayer focused, you can do single player, and thank God they added duos later on, but the game is built around having 3 different players. And while you can choose the same character, like do a triple raider strategy to poise break a lot, you can also just run in and, like, let's say someone's more magic focused character like Revenant, someone's jack of all trades, Wilder, the other person is like staying a distance away and sniping as Iron Eye. Let's say I get a really good bow as Wilder, I can go and give that to Iron Eye, and he can do the same if he gets like a really good magic weapon for the Revenant.
Yeah, no, the game actually does a really good job of giving you incentive to play with other people and to help each other out. Like, it's not the best, but there is a pinging system to tell you where what location that you want to go to the map. There's also you can ping weapons, which is really cool. I do wish there was a more of a communication system with like text emotes, like on a radial wheel or something, like what Monster Hunter does. I think Monster Hunter does that really well, where not only do they have preset messages to let, if you were playing with hunters that don't use voice chat, you can message them like indicating, hey, do this, hey, do that, or you can just custom make the messages to whatever you want. Sometimes it's not for the best, but it is something that game does very well, where I don't really see that in Nightreign. It kind of does the bare minimum for like a pinging system, but the thing is that it's enough. It is enough to let people know exactly what you want to do and what the intention is, which I'm okay with.
I think as well, like, it really was painful at first because especially like me and Guy obviously played together, but when the game first came out, you had to play with 3 players, so we would just get stuck with some random. And when the game first came out and no one knew what the hell they were doing, like, okay, yeah, that really sucked. But I think now that the general player base has, like, they've gotten better and we all understand, including us, like, how the game works on a more fundamental degree and, like, what the best strategies are. Like, now we kind of run the thing like a boot camp, because once I started to get good at Nightreign and, like, the bosses didn't feel so impossible, instead of, like, routinely getting to level 11, if I was lucky, started to go to level 12, 13, 14, and then, like, 15 maxed out. Because I'd be running a thing like a drill sergeant being like, go, 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 we need to go to this church. We need to go to the mines to get an upgrade. And then we got to go into Noclateo so I can get a really good weapon and then duplicate it. And then we're going to go fight 3 field bosses.
No, literally. And that's okay. That's kind of the thing about Nightreign. Here's the thing about Nightreign. For every, like, thing that's, like, middling, there's also something that, like, works in its favor. Even though the game doesn't, like, I will say this, one of the issues I have with it is that it doesn't feel as varied in terms of randomness that a roguelike should have, but the thing is, though, is that it also kind of allows you to plan out strategies a little better, and, like, create even better runs for yourself, especially, like, it rewards people for memorizing locations and memorizing, like, loadouts for different areas of the game. Like, I'm so mixed on it, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, no, it is a lot of fun, especially just hopping in, then getting, like, some busted build off of like some crazy weapon and some other combination is like, oh, now I have this relic that's increasing my specials and I keep poise breaking with Wilder. Like it's a lot of fun, but also there is that like problem of variety as well, especially like with the weaknesses all the bosses have. Since like I'm glad you don't have to like figure them out, they just straight up tell you instead of having to like look it up on Elden Ring Nightreign wiki. It does kind of make it to where there's a centralized strategy, or a lot of times your relics will have like starting armament starts with like holy damage or something. A lot of the times I would just like upgrade the weapons I get from that, because even if there were some better weapons I could get like when I was running around, other times I wouldn't be so lucky. So I'm like, okay, thank God I used the relic.
No, that's fair.
It's really odd. I very much enjoy this game because I mean we put a lot of hours in it. We've gotten every single trophy, fought every boss, used every Nightfarer, and while we're still having to get our opinions on the DLC because it did just kind of recently come out, I still don't think it's going to solve all of the base issues the game has. I don't know. What are your opinions, Guy?
No, I agree on that. Where like the DLC, it just seems like the changes that they're making are just that they're adding more variety. But variety is not the only issue with this game. But the thing is, like I said earlier, this game is like the most weird I've ever felt about a roguelike ever. Where in a typical roguelike, some of my favorite ones I praise for having equal parts randomness and equal parts skill adaptation, to where I need to adapt to the certain scenario, and if I adapt well enough, then I win. My favorite roguelike, for example, Balatro. Haha, love that game. If you haven't watched already, we have a Balatro video. Basically, the game gives you a lot of options in the shop to make sure that you have a way, or that you're able to deal with certain boss antis that are coming up, except for the plant. We don't talk about the plant though. But basically, the game does a really good job of giving you a chance to adapt while also adding a hint of randomness to it that makes it very, I would say, rewarding in terms of like planning out properly. That's also why deck thinning is so important in that game. And that's one of the reasons why I love the game so much. Nightreign, on the other hand, yes, it has randomness aspects. I'm not saying it doesn't. However, there are a lot of varying things that you can do to reduce the amount of randomness in a game. For example, the shifting earth events. I am a fan of the idea of a shifting earth event. However, the game gives you the ability to summon whatever shifting earth you want, whenever you want, especially once you defeat the Everdarks, which are beefed up versions of the bosses. The thing is, though, if you're smart enough, you're just going to go for one of them called Noclateo all the time, because you get a guaranteed legendary weapon for doing the boss in that area. And that's the thing about Nightreign, though, is that like you are able to custom make these runs, and there is still skill involved. Like it's Elden Ring, for God's sakes. Like you need to be. There is a baseline of skill that is required for you to be excellent at this video game. However, it's just, as a roguelike, it is not as varied as maybe it should be.
Yeah, it's certainly a weird formula, because like in some parts I feel like it worked. Like the more you understand the map of Nightreign, it's like the better you get. And if they completely kept shifting everything around, then it would be a more frustrating experience. At the same time, though, it does get a bit repetitive, especially because like if you have played Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree, you are going to be seeing a lot of those same bosses, because the main new bosses, which are all of them are excellent. Well, some of them a little more than others, but the Night
Some
Lords
of them
you
are
fight,
more equal than others, but it's okay.
yes, Animal Farm reference. Yeah, but while the new content that's there is great, you are going to be fighting a lot of the same bosses again. And while there are some little hints of spice they put in there, like, ooh, look, you get to fight the Smelter Demon from Dark Souls 2, or the Centipede Demon from Dark Souls 1, or Nameless King from Dark Souls 3, which they very much hyped up in the trailer. Stuff like that is very few and far between. I would have liked to see a bit more like new bosses and stuff in this game, instead of just reusing a lot of the ones from Elden Ring.
I'm I'm actually okay with them using a good amount of enemies because there is also a reuse of enemies from the other Souls games. Like there's the Skyla from Dark Souls 2. Like Brewer said already, the Smelter Demon. They just added Artorias. They have the Gaping Dragon. The thing though is that I am glad there is a variety from throughout the Souls series, except for Bloodborne. But another thing to also consider is that there's also just not a lot of the other game bosses, which kind of disappoints me because I mean they're remedying a little bit of that with the DLC, but that's also just a thing of like, okay, cool, you really put in Gaping Dragon over something like, I don't know, Artorias or Manus or someone really cool. You know what I mean?
Dragon
It's just so weird.
Basically all
Black
the
Dragon
DLC
Calamite,
bosses
yes.
from Dark Souls 1.
Dark Souls 1
I mean, they have
has... Yeah.
They have Artorias now, which is nice, especially because he is probably one of the best fights from Dark Souls 1 and the most memorable. I think it just when they were releasing this on the trailers, especially showing off the Nameless King of all things, a lot of people were expecting this to be like big crossover thing in some ways, or there to be a lot more bosses from those games, but there really isn't. There's, at least without considering the DLC, there's 2 from each of the mainline Dark Souls games, and besides that, it's all just other Elden Ring bosses.
Yeah, it's like it goes the measure to add in these bosses from other games, yet it just stops like halfway through the run and just only adds 2. It's so weird. It feels like there should be more.
Yeah, on one hand, I kind of get it because this was a budget title. Like, I would be way more harsh in this game if it was a like $60-$70 full price release. Because when it released, it was like, what was it, like $40 without counting
$40,
DLC?
and the DLC is $15 with the standard edition is $40.
Yeah, and you can get it a lot cheaper than that. Because I mean, hell, I got it for like 30 something before the game even came out. Even then, though, it still doesn't help mitigate all the issues I have with the game, especially because, like, you know, played a decent amount of Souls games now, so, you know, when you've seen this stuff time and time again, it's like, you just want a little more from it.
Yeah, no, that's just valid. Like, especially since I also feel like this is something we haven't mentioned yet. One thing that I do think is kind of weird, because they also pull this from the other Souls games, is that they give skins from other characters in the Souls series to the characters of Nightreign. One of the coolest things about Nightreign, I really love this actually. This adds a lot of replay. It gives you a lot of like incentive to keep playing the game. You can put skins onto your characters, and some of them are from other Souls games, which I think is so fucking cool. With my favorite, the Raider, love that guy. He has a Havel outfit that you can unlock, and I love the Havel outfit so much. But also, it just like kind of makes me angry because they're going the mile to, you know, add in these costumes and everything, but just doesn't feel like enough. It really just doesn't feel like enough, which is also really crazy because they also did add an update where they added some costumes to the characters. Like, I don't know. This game is so weird to me because in some instances, it's awesome because it's Elden Ring, and Elden Ring's one of the best games ever made. But on the other hand, it's like, dang, it just feels like there should be more here. But it's so much fun. It's such a weird experience. It's such a weird game to talk about, honestly.
Yeah, I really do love the formula because, like, especially with how fast paced it is compared to like even Elden Ring, which is considered one of the fastest Souls games. Like just running around the map with my Wilder, who's dressed as Artorias from Dark Souls 1, using my grappling hook and then using a big ass cannon to take down a boss in like 3 seconds, and then immediately go murder another one just so I can get even stronger. Like, that is so satisfying. It gets a bit stale after a while. It's like even with the shifting earths and stuff, like your strategies are gonna start like just kind of unionizing, becoming like very similar over the time. It's like, okay, the formula me and Guy like came up with after a while is like, okay, we'll do a very small camp at the start, If there's an Everjail nearby, we will immediately do that, especially because one of the relics we had that buffed us for every Everjail we beat. Hit up churches along the path, get some upgrades, and then by like end of day one, we'll maybe try to do one of the bigger things, like the castle that usually always spawns in the middle unless there's a shifting earth. With the shifting earth ain't there, we'll just keep farming and doing a bunch of other camps. After day one boss, day two comes, and then we'll usually rush to whatever the big thing is, either the castle, big shifting earth event, get that done, and then we'll just try to keep farming and farming as many runes as we can. And while sometimes we may get like jumped by Margit the Fell Omen or one of the other night bosses in like a weaker form, again, those instances are just way too few and far between for my liking.
No, I completely agree. And like there is a playing devil's advocate here. There is the argument to be made that, well, you can also develop strategies, like similar strategies for different runs in other roguelikes, which is true. The difference, however, with this one is that let's say a game like Hades, a very popular strategy I would do is to use the Aegis Shield, and what I would do, I would just try to farm the Daedalus Hammers to get the ability where I can attack twice. That was a very common strategy I used to do a good amount of the heat levels. Thing is, though, the game is still randomized. I'm not guaranteed to get that Daedalus Hammer that I want. Nightreign, however, I can guarantee that I get a legendary weapon by the end of my run to make sure I do well against a boss. I can guarantee a good amount of stuff, which is just so... It's satisfying for, like... It's satisfying in a sense that you can plan well and that you get rewarded for planning well. However, it also becomes, like Brewer said, it just becomes very stale, very formulaic, which is the biggest reason why I stopped playing this game for a while, which is so sad because I do want to talk about this next. The characters, they each have their own abilities, but also they each have 3 relic slots, 6 if you are playing on some of the harder difficulties. But basically these relics do a really fun job of increasing certain stats or adding different abilities to the characters to give them more build variety. Like one of my favorites was the Wilder, where there was an ability he had where if you use his normal cooldown ability, not his ultimate but the other one with a grappling hook. Yeah, if you pressed the light attack button while using the grappling hook, you can do a follow-up attack that encoats your greatsword in fire, which is really cool because not only do you get to do you turn a mobility option into an offensive option, and then you also get the fire buff on your weapon for a few seconds, which is so cool. That's such a cool thing that they added to make the character more unique. There's also some other ones. I think there's a really cool one with the Revenant where she her ultimate, it makes all of the characters immune to death and doesn't actually do damage until if you add a relic to where it creates a giant ghost flame explosion, which actually is one of the highest damage ults in the game if you have that equipped, which I think is so cool.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome. It's just, again, I would have liked to see a little more out of it, or like one thing I think that would help with the characters, like all of them, when they use the weapon that like they're the most proficient in, because all of them have different proficiencies that kind of like match with their stats as well, they'll have like a different animation that's usually a bit stronger than the other characters, minus a couple exceptions with stuff like Duchess. I think I would have liked to see as well, like there's a lot of relics for like starting armaments, start with Frost or X effect. If like maybe we could change up the character's scalings a little bit, or maybe have them start with a different weapon and they also have a unique animation for that. Because like let's say Executor, he's really good with katanas. How cool would it have been if they had like great katanas in the game and I could have him start out with that instead, and he would have unique animations for that made him better suited to the weapon than someone like Wilder.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't know. It's you first.
This is the weirdest Souls game for us to talk about because all the other ones we usually just gush about. This one, like, there's lots of parts I do want to gush about because it's very fun. but other parts have straight up just been kind of infuriating, especially with like the netcode sometimes.
That was the biggest issue with the game near the beginning of its launch. Oh my god.
I remember I had like
yeah.
really bad experience with the game too, where like save file corrupted, and what I had to do is I had to like go on some forums, I had to take someone else's save and then rename my old save to like what the new one was being marked as, with like some mod on like Game Banana or something, and then it uncorrupted my save and I was able to go back to where I was, which thank god, because I was literally like right at the final boss.
I remember that, dude. That, oh my god, I don't understand why. Like, it seems that like this game, there's just like a lack of polish that was inherently a part of it. Like, you mentioned this earlier, how you had to play 3-player at the beginning, and they didn't add duo co-op until much later in the game, which infuriated, including us, a lot of people. Because Brewer and I, we don't really have a lot of people who want to play this game with us because they're lame. But the thing is that because of that, if we wanted to play together, we'd have to play with a random. And the biggest issue with playing with a random is that communication...
They suck. They're garbage.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, most of the time our we did not get good randoms, like, at all.
Yeah, there's like a couple exceptions I will bring up. Like some tales of like some legendary warriors who like are way better at the game than me, but no, 90% of the players, like, I was like, why are you going to that fire camp? We haven't done the castle. And it's like, oh, he fainted at the fire camp. He went alone too. Great. This final boss is gonna go great. I can't wait.
A lot of times our runs would go awry because of the random, which I'm so glad they added the duo mode. Oh my god, that's actually like the most fun I've had with the game. Like, I'm being so genuine, and it's because we didn't have to worry about a random.
Yeah, I mean, there are goated randoms out there. Like, I want to do a quick shout out to this player named Chens, because of a different shitty random. Like, I was playing, and the dude Chens was the executor. Some dude named Mono was a raider. At the end of the run, me and Chens got to level 13. Mono, because he quit early day 2 because he kept dying to some random field boss, left at level 6. And there is no option to just like, I really wish you could vote to just like end a night early if you guys like know it's just gonna go horrible or horribly. But we were doing Caligo, and I was like, you know what, I haven't fought this boss yet, this would be some good practice. And you know what, we were doing fairly well against it, like actually pretty good, considering there was only 2 of us, and at the time there was no 2-player scaling for the boss. Like, it was still scaled up as if there was 3 players attacking it. And eventually I fell, and then I fell again and again. And whenever you fall in Nightreign, your teammate has to hit you, and to revive you, there will be this bar they have to fill, and it gets harder and harder the more times you die during a boss fight. So yeah, Chens was not going to be able to revive me. Well, he tried his damnedest, I will give him that. But what I witnessed after, the boss like had like about maybe half of their HP left. Chens went on to solo that thing while I was just sitting there in awe at the glory of Chens the Executor.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and to think I wouldn't have seen that if the shitty random had done his job and just stayed.
What, do you know what role he was playing, or like what character?
He was Raider. He was Raider. I took a screenshot of everything.
Dude, he rage quit as Raider?
Yeah.
Like, if you were like Recluse or Revenant, that would have made more sense. Raider?
Yeah, Raider's one of the more unga bunga characters. Literally just grab 2 colossal weapons, jump L1.
No, he is the brain rot character, which is awesome. I made him, by the way.
Man, who would have guessed?
Exactly. No, he is the brain rot character. I love him. He's beautiful. He's a beautiful character.
Yeah, but going back to the duo things, I'm very glad they added it, but again, it was just very odd they didn't have it on release. because especially in our case as well, like there also isn't crossplay with this game, so some of our friends that would have played with us, they just can't because me and Guy play on PC. Our friend Connor has a PlayStation.
Oh God, Connor.
And I'm sorry to Connor, but I'm not playing on PlayStation when I have to pay for the online.
Okay, I love Connor, and this is the middle episode. He's a fantastic host. I'm gonna throw some shade here. He didn't want to play. He wasn't going to play Nightreign, not because of us complaining about the game at first, not because because it wasn't a traditional Souls-like. He decided he wasn't going to get the game because he couldn't play with us.
Yeah, the game is still a lot of fun to play solo or to play with randoms. The experience is definitely elevated with friends, though.
It is. However, I just think that is the craziest thing ever. It's like, I won't play X game because X friends won't play it. And I'm like, bro, you gotta be kidding me.
Bro would not have survived an old gen Monster Hunter.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, that's so funny. But yeah, no. Going back to the game, you mentioned the bosses earlier, and that's something I kind of want to get into now because I'm going to be entirely honest. I am so mixed on these Nightreign bosses because
it is kind of crazy because the bosses are the best part of the game.
For the most part, there are some that are a little iffy. I'll be honest. Like
I'm gonna be real. It mostly is base form fights, not including Everdarks. One of the fights that's kind of just boring because it's a jelly blob that floats around all the time.
Augur. I love Augur.
The Everdark fights are very interesting. Let's just say the way a lot of them were designed. Some of them really do elevate the fight to another level, are very challenging, and are a lot of fun. Other ones are Everdark Libra, who spams a billion copies of you that you somehow have to deal with, and then you just get jumped and killed while he's spamming random AoE effects you can't dodge.
And that he's camping you and everything, it's beautiful, and then sometimes you just get a random effect, and if you don't respect said random effect, you just get owned and you can't really do anything about it. It's such a good fight. It's such a good fight.
It does suck because I do genuinely really love the original Libra fight.
You're baiting me. You're fucking baiting me, and we're doing this now because you said that. Damn it. Alright. Here's my hot take. I think Libra, the base, not Everdark, base Libra, is also a bad fight. And a lot of the reasons are similar to the Everdark Libra. It's a better fight by technicality, it is, but I also don't think it's the best. I see why people... I understand why people think it is a good fight. I just don't think it is.
An objection, because I want to cosplay as Phoenix Wright for a bit. I wouldn't say it's the best fight in the game, because it is flawed in a couple areas, especially like some of the sigils. Like if you're not playing a certain character, you're not going to reach them. That, and like majority of the times you're not going to be able to hit all of them in time anyways. But I do like the transitions between the fight between his like kind of frenzy mode and between the normal one. And there's a good balance as well with like making sure to save your ultimates or your big attacks as well. And then also trying to just navigate around a lot of his terrain effects. Libra is a fight that once you learn to master it and manage it, it's a lot of fun striking that balance. But it is going to probably kill most first timers unless they have like someone who's played the game on their team. Just because if you let him do all of his crazy funny tricks, he is gonna just kill you.
Yeah, he is not an easy fight. Like, I mean, that goes for most of these fights as well, but it's also just like, yeah, it is like I hate that Libra knowledge checks you. Which I mean, like, you could argue that every Souls fight does that to an extent, but it's just like he has so many random bullshit go attacks that it's like if you just don't know exactly what they're doing, it's just you kind of get screwed over a little bit. I'll be real.
Yeah, well, I think part of it also is he has a weakness that is very uncommon compared to the rest of them. All the other characters or Night Lords that you fight, they have a weakness that has plenty of weapon drops, and also you can have a starting armament that does like X effect that you can usually run into. Libras are very few and far between. Like they actually added an update that added like more frenzy weapons and whatnot, just because it was that rare to find them in the field. So most of the times you were just having to run in there and you couldn't use his weakness against him. That's also what made him one of the hardest bosses.
Yeah, is that you just didn't have access to the weakness, which is so stupid.
It is stupid.
But yeah, no, going over the Night Lord bosses, we have Tricephalos, aka Gladius, Gaping Jaw, aka Adel, Sentient Pest, also known as Noster, Augur or Maris, Equilibrious Beast or Libra, as we so eloquently talked about earlier, the Darkdrift Knight or Fulgor, Fissure in the Fog or Caligo, and then the final boss, Night Aspect or Hailster, the Night Lord. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. This is a mixed fucking bag. Holy shit.
Yeah, I do really like a lot of these fights, but again, some of them just feel so odd because a lot of the fights just spam so many AoE attacks. It's
Yeah,
like, oh man,
like
I really like Caligo's fight until it spams the AoE attack. I really like Noster's fight until it spams the AoE attack.
Noster is. I don't like Sentient Fest. I really don't. Like, I don't like the Noster fight whatsoever until the Everdark. I think the Everdark fight is a lot better.
It is funny you say that because, like, at least base game before DLC with crazy Angel Woman fight, it is the only fight that's duo for the Night Lords. Like, there's two targets. Well, I mean, there is Gladius, but he splits into those forms. But at least the whole fight being two enemies. A Sentient Pest is the only one. And then in his Everdark version, or their Everdark version, there's a third one.
It's so smart.
Yeah, no,
Oh
you
god.
get jumped. Bring fire.
Yeah, but
Bring fire weapons.
true. No, the Everdarks, like, we mentioned them a lot, but they basically, like, to give, like, kind of a synopsis of the Everdark fights, every Night Lord, except for the final boss, has an Everdark form that basically, they start in their second phase, and they gain a secret third phase. And the third phase varies depending on what they do. Like, obviously, we mentioned earlier with Libra, his secret third phase for his Everdark is even more random bullshit go and having to summon a lot of NPCs. We have Tricephalos Gladius, whose third phase is fucking insane. By the way, oh my god,
It's kind of
incredible.
crazy because like it's the first Night Lord you have to face, and it has one of the craziest third forms.
Gains insane AoE attacks that have the ability to wipe out your entire team, but it's a really good fight though. It's very fair. Like, I like that fight a lot.
Yeah, no, the first time you fight it, it will feel like you don't know what's going on because he will speed blitz the hell out of you.
Yeah, especially since, like, I will say this, there is a mechanic that I didn't know about at first, which they didn't exactly do the best job of displaying it, but I now that I know, it's a lot better. If he takes a form, and if you attack him 3 times while he's in that form, he will just power up.
Yep.
Yeah, and that is something that can make that fight way harder than it has to be. But like, let's say some other examples. Augur, Maris, one of the coolest Everdarks ever. It's not, it doesn't entirely fix the fight, but basically its third phase, it grows into a ginormous form where you gain new weapons that basically become the Storm Rulers from other Souls games, and it becomes a Storm Ruler fight, which is so cool. And it's actually like a pretty decently hard like Storm Ruler fight too. Like, it actually, like, it's fair for the most part, but it's just like implements like a lot of new mechanics that you have to learn on the fly. You have to be able to understand what attacks he's doing because they're giant AoEs in a massive arena. But because of the access to your new Storm Ruler, you also have the ability to hit him from anywhere in the arena. It's really cool. It's a cool fight.
It's very cool visually. I have heard mixed opinions on it just because this is a roguelike, so having one of the fights, like especially because you can't just go and restart the fight, you have to go do an entire big run to get to it. Like having to throw away some of your best weapons to just use a different one does kind of throw away a lot of the random aspects, but I feel like it's fine enough because it is just for literally one fight in the entire game.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
That and also I don't know what else they would have done with base Maris, because that fight kind of boring.
Runs around, spams a little bit of projectiles, has some babies. It's a little weird. You want to know about an Everdark fight that gets worse? Oh my lord! Let's start talking about Gaping Jaw, Adel. Yeah, that was the first Everdark that was released. Kind of Shadow Drop too, which I think is really funny. Yeah, this fight is kind of dookie dog cheeks. I'm gonna be real.
Well, I think the biggest issue as well is like, even on decent PCs, like there's so many frame drops. Like
No,
I don't know why, because
yeah,
this is also with like the base fight as well. Whenever Adele uses like there's like those lightning attacks that like cause the terrain to pop up, like there's so many frame drops. Like this isn't even just like an us thing. This is a very common issue, especially if you like watch someone's live stream or something and they're playing Nightreign. You will see the frames drop immediately whenever they use that attack.
yeah. It's such a. I think that fight actively gets worse because it summons a giant tornado, which at the time it's a cool like first thing. It's like, oh, it's really cool. You have to use the little streams to like rise and go into the tornado so that you don't get hit. Thing is though, this boss moves around so much that he will actively go in and out of the tornado. So not only can you not hit him for a good amount of it, but also because he has these giant leaping attacks, sometimes you're just not going to be able to see him, which sucks because it's like you have your lock on the boss, and then like 1 second later he's just right in your face and you can't really see anything from it. Well, all of this while your PC is chugging because the fucking storm is so poorly optimized.
It is also a factor of like, again, these fights are designed around having 3 players, but funnily enough, some of the fights a lot of the community would say is easier with 1 player, especially notable ones like Libra, just because when they're not targeting 3 players or summoning extra things because there's 3 players, the fights are actually maybe a bit easier than they would be, because like, yeah, you can't get revived from a teammate, but you can by Wending Graces when you're in single player mode, which does help.
That is good. It's just, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I like most of the Everdark fights, but there are a couple of stinkers.
Just like I'll throw a positive one out there. I think Fulgor's Everdark form is actually really good. I like that fight a lot. That one's a lot of fun. Like equal parts insane, but also equal parts like fun and fair. Like you know what's happening throughout the fight. There is no point where your PC's chugging or there's poor visual telegraphing or anything. It's very good. That is a very good fight.
Dude, I love that fight because it had one of my hypest moments in Nightreign, because like you and the random were down. He still had like a quarter of his HP left, or like a fifth of it left. And then I just kept fighting and I killed him on my own.
No, I remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah, which probably still wouldn't have mattered as much because we did have Wending Graces. But
it's okay.
If we didn't have them, I carried.
It's okay.
My Wilder goes crazy.
Trust. Oh god, no. There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of memories to be had. Like, here's the thing, we are like talking like good and bad things about this game, but like there are so many good moments that this game arises from. Like it's Elden Ring. Like, of course the combat's going to be great, and it's because you're able to like do it with your friends. There are a lot of moments that can be created from that are just so memorable, so fun. Like, you remember those wins when you get them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think as well, like the music is fantastic in this game as well, especially a lot of the boss themes. Like they're a lot of them are just as good as what you'd see in Elden Ring as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, one of my favorite ones is Caligo's. I like that one's a lot, which is really unfortunate because I think the boss is a little flawed, but that's okay.
I don't even think the boss is like super hard, because like, we have speed blitz murdered that poor dragon before it could even attack us one time.
Going full circle on this, one of the reasons when its Everdark came out, the only reason why we were able to speed blitz it so easily is because we were able to minimize the randomness with a shifting earth event that made us practically immune to frostbite, so the fight was just so much easier.
Yeah. I mean, it's really weird because like the shifting earths, like the problem used to be you couldn't summon them because before the Everdarks were released, there was no way to get the shifting earth events, and a lot of them were fairly rare. So like the achievement for getting all the shifting earth events, I got that after beating the game just because I had never naturally encountered them. But now the issue is more so like, okay, it's really easy to spawn these in. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm glad there's ways to spawn them though, because yeah, no, it's the biggest thing that adds more variety to the game.
They need to be just rarer, like obviously not as rare as
No,
before.
I don't think they need to be rare.
Yeah.
they were already a pain in the ass to get.
Oh, well, okay, sorry. No, what I mean by rare is they need to be like a 1/3 spawn rate, like still like you're gonna get them in a good amount of games, but it's not gonna be like one every 50 games, and then from there it's a 1 in 4 chance because of the amount of shifting earths that are in the game. Like I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be good.
I think the bigger thing to solve this is like there is only one map, and I mean now there's DLC map, but I feel like at launch this game should have had maybe like 2 or 3 maps, because like Limveld is, again, it does not really change up all that much. The biggest thing that will change your run besides shifting earth is whether you get Crucible Knights or those fuck ass trolls in the castle.
Dude, oh my god, there's so many moments where you would get pissed off if they were trolls. It's so funny.
Well, it's because Crucible Knights is so much more broken and fun, and like even the Banished Knights, like they don't give you as many runes, but they're still much more reasonable. But no, when you're trying to do literally anything, those trolls from a mile away will throw the pots at you and set you on fire. Even when you're like not in the castle, it's just so annoying.
No, it's poorly balanced. Like they should have, it's especially the Crucible Knights. Like I don't even care that they're easier than the Banished Knights. Like they just give more runes, which is such a that's a bad thing.
Well, you want to know something funny with the balance?
What's up?
Because like a lot of these knights are returning, or not knights. A lot of these bosses, like I mentioned, are returning from Elden Ring. So some of them have been adjusted a little bit. Like some of them have gotten new attacks. Some of them show up as night bosses, or other ones show up as field bosses. One of the most notorious ones is the Bell-Bearing Hunter.
Bell-Bearing Hunter. Yes! I love him.
Yeah, because for some reason he's just so cracked out of his mind whenever he's attacking you.
I actually watched a video on why he's so broken. Basically, not only did they scale him up, but for some fucking reason, they added a new mechanic in Elden Ring Nightreign. It's like a different type of stagger. So like in normal Elden Ring, in other Souls games, usually if you stagger an enemy, you can do a critical hit or visceral or whatever it's called, depending on the game, to stab your weapon through the enemy to do a crap ton of damage. Well, they wanted the ultimates in the game to feel powerful. So typically, like, this is why Iron Eye has like one of the best ults in the game, is that it has the ability to do something called a semi-stun, where no matter what animation the boss is doing, it will get stunned for a little second. Not enough for you to do a visceral or anything like a critical hit. However, it is stunned for a little bit, and that just to add like some more power to the ultimate. They forgot to program that animation for the Bell-Bearing Hunter.
Yeah, that lines up.
Yeah, so like even if you are to ult him, he's just gonna tank that shit.
Yeah, and I think it's also just because again, his attack is scaled up so much higher than usual that he will just be team killing a lot of time. I mean, it's better now. Again, we've gotten used to the fight like a lot of the other fights. So, oh no, Bell-Bearing Hunter, let's just go kill him. I want some runes.
Look, I'm gonna say there was a meme for the longest time that the Bell-Bearing Hunter actually soloed every Night Lord, which is true.
Yeah, no, they did. There's like a bunch of those videos, I think, but there's one channel that does a lot of them where they'll make Souls bosses go up against each other, and yeah, Bell-Bearing Hunter was fighting a lot of the Shadow of the Erdtree bosses and winning. Not all of them, but considering how crazy that DLC is, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, the Bell-Bearing Hunter, like, I'm currently, as we're talking, I am watching Bell-Bearing Hunter versus Gladius. Bell-Bearing Hunter has not even lost a fourth of his HP yet, and he is more than halfway through the fight.
That's crazy.
Like, that is how insane the Bell-Bearing Hunter is. Like, there are horror stories about the Bell-Bearing Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, some of that is also the boss being probably kind of dumb with targeting, especially when they can't, like, poise or, like, mess you up and stun you, but still, that is kind of wild.
It is a little funny. Like, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't think the Bell-Bearing Hunter was meant to be broken on purpose, but that also kind of adds to the idea that this game just wasn't that polished, or like as polished as it probably should be, because I really don't think the Bell-Bearing Hunter was meant to be this difficult.
Bell-Bearing Hunter is like one of the weird just exceptions. Like, for the most part, I don't have too many issues with the balancing of this game. It's just, again, like we've been saying this entire time, this game is just so weird on so many ends. Like, I'm happy it exists. I enjoyed it. It's just sometimes I'm wondering what they were trying to cook up.
There's a lot to enjoy here. That's the thing. Like, there is a reason why a lot of people played this game on launch. There is a reason why it is one of the, like, most played video games of 2025. The thing is, though, is that, like, it's not void of criticism or consequence, though.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just so weird. Oh wait, that wasn't even Gladius 3-player. Sorry, I'm watching this video again. Yeah, he is soloing Gladius on 3-player scaling.
That's crazy.
That is insane. Holy God, Bell-Bearing Hunter, you are a beast.
Yeah.
But yeah, that can, you know what? This can kind of lead us into our concluding points a little bit, because I feel like it's about that time. Personally, we've talked a lot of Nightreign, and though it has a mixture of good and bad, for the most part, this game is so much fun. It's very enjoyable, and honestly, that's really all you can really ask for a video game, is for it to be fun. But also, that does not mean the game is void of criticism. And the thing about Elden Ring Nightreign, the reason why we were so hard on it in this video is because, frankly, we've played other games in the series. We know what these developers are capable of. Arguably, FromSoft is the best developer in the scene right now in terms of quality of their video games. That is just something that is to be debated, which is why it's so weird for this game to release the way it is. It seems like there were a lot of oversights. It just seems that some of the bosses weren't as well designed. There's some really weird stuff. It doesn't fully go into the roguelike stuff, but it also doesn't fully go into the soul stuff. This game is very weird. It's uniquely crafted, but there is no other game like it, and I kind of love it for that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I think, like we mentioned before, this game is really awesome for the fact of just being able to hop into a run with a bunch of like kind of predetermined classes and characters, so you can just go and have that fun Souls experience without like having to invest all the time into it. Because again, other than like Sekiro, there's a lot of the games just do not offer refights. It's so weird. Like,
yeah,
Elden Ring, please.
It is.
I would love if you added that in an update.
It'll never come, dude. I don't know why that was. I really don't. I don't know why Sekiro. Like, don't get me wrong. The update that added the boss rush was so much fun. You could that was also a really cool update in the sense that they gave you skins that you could put on Wolf, so they added customization options in that sense. They added some new Shinobi tools as well. Like, that was a really good update included with the boss rush. And that's something we just don't really get to see with Elden Ring, which is also a really good reason as to why we really like Nightreign. I think that's also a big reason why I like roguelikes in particular is because I'm able to refight challenges that I've done before, and I get to go in them with new strategies and new ways to accomplish that. That's just something with RPGs though, where it's like games that are very tailored and personalized towards you and how you want to play just sometimes are very hard to get back into because like there's so much there that you'd have to replay the entire game again if you want to try something else. Like one of the biggest reasons why I have not started a second playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 is because that game is just so long and so massive that it will take up another semester of my life to complete.
Yeah.
Even though there are other strategies that I want to try out, because thing is, a good amount of my playthrough, I just told bosses to kill themselves. I'm not even kidding. I told bosses to kill themselves, and they killed themselves, so I didn't even get to fight them. I don't even know how their fights work. I really don't. Which is so unfortunate.
Just skipping the whole boss, kill yourself. Okay, I'll do it.
Doing the love to your god build, dude. That shit was so funny.
Yeah, just skipping all the work the developers put into like finally craft the fight by rolling a d20 and like kill yourself.
Dude, there was oh my god. Literally the hardest fight in the second act of that video game. It's so funny. You can tell him, he's like, I keep hearing a song in my head. Oh, I wish it would stop. And then the song is like kill something something, and then if you roll enough persuasion checks, you'd be like, maybe if you kill your comrades, then it will go away. And he goes, okay, I'll try it. And then it doesn't work. And then you go, maybe kill your pet. Maybe that will work. And he goes, okay, I'll try it. And then eventually it'll go, I still hear the song. And then I was like, wait, I know how you can prevent yourself from hearing it. Kill yourself. And he's like, oh, such a good idea. And then he does it. And then you win the fight. And you still get the experience from it. It's so funny.
I want to imagine I go up to Everdark Libra, instead of fighting him, I just roll a bunch of persuasion checks. It's like, ooh, Libra, you want to strike a bargain. Here's the bargain. You kill yourself, and we don't have to fight, but we say you won. How does that sound?
Exactly. Sorry, that was just a complete different side rant I went off on. Just that very funny story in Baldur's Gate 3. Brewer, give me your concluding thoughts, my good sir.
I have a lot to cover here because there is some other stuff we could mention, but again, a lot of it will be kind of the same of just talking about the variety in this game, because this isn't a game you're also going to be playing for the story, because all the characters like have some quests and objectives that tie into a grander story, and there is some cool lore stuff with like the Dark Souls games in here, and then also Elden Ring, but again, this is mostly a spin-off, so there's not really a huge focus on that. So I think the reason we're focusing on the other part so much is because, again, this isn't a traditional adventure. This is a roguelike, and there's certain expectations that come with making your game formula into a roguelike. And Elden Ring Nightreign, like, they did meet a lot of them. The game is a lot of fun, and it does some stuff I haven't really seen in other roguelikes all that much. But it does also feel like it's missing some core identity as well. And also at times, again, I wish they would have added a little more, because they did just take a lot of the assets and stuff from Elden Ring, which on its own, I don't feel like that's a problem. But it's just when I keep seeing the same stuff over and over again, I would have liked if they had like maybe put their foot forward and added a little more into it. But overall, the game's still a hell of a lot of fun. Like, especially if you get this on sale, I would recommend it if you're big into the Souls games. Probably not as your first one, because I feel like the game is kind of expecting you to have that Elden Ring experience, which is probably the easiest way to get into the Soul series in all honesty, but the gameplay is a lot of fun. It's kind of like a sped up version of Elden Ring, and it's really fun going to like each night and like trying to make some crazy build just to wreck the Night Lord. All the Night Lords are very fun. Some of them are a bit flawed with their design, especially because these are FromSoftware bosses that are designed around multiplayer, not single player. But they're all enjoyable. They have great soundtracks, and I got a lot of enjoyment out of the fights. There was still that kind of dance I felt with it sometimes. because you can still learn the bosses even if they are spamming AoEs. It still feels balanced to a sense. So if you have some time and you maybe find the game on sale, I would very much recommend Elden Ring Nightreign. It's not my favorite roguelike, it's not my favorite Souls game, but it is a damn fun time, especially if you can get some friends to hop in with you.
Play Elden Ring first, please.
Please play Elden Ring first.
Play that first. It's a better game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Fair enough, man. There is an expectation for it to be a roguelike there, and again, this game is a lot of fun, but we know what FromSoft is capable of. We know the video games and the artistry that they are capable of. Some of the greatest minds in the industry. And it's just really unfortunate to see that it's not to the quality of, say, Elden Ring or Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and the other games in the series.
Yeah, I mean, again, I kind of expect that because of the production values. This game was never meant to be that, and it is more of a budget title. But at the same time, though, when like a lot of indie games now, like a lot of the most popular ones are roguelikes, and they're releasing for like $15 to $20. It's still a bit of a hard pill to swallow. Like $40 that reuses a lot of assets from some other notable games.
Yeah, I also don't want to be that guy, but like Hollow Knight Silksong did release this year for $20 and had less of a budget with only 4 people working on it.
Yeah, I mean, not just Silksong. There's a lot of games as well that don't get all that much recognition. On top of that, we'd be here for hours if we talked about all the games that released this year that probably should have gotten more recognition or were very cheap, made by probably a couple dudes in a basement, and may have more to chew down on, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But that is for another video. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode on Elden Ring Nightreign. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it, please hit the like and subscribe button. Comment down below some of your Nightreign experiences or any experiences of the Souls games that you've had. Tell us why we're wrong about Nightreign, and it's secretly the greatest game of all time and is your game of the year. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. We've been FetchQuest, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Bye,
Bye everybody.